comfortable?
No, I prefer standing. Professor also, no. Swamiji, aapko pranam. I'm very thankful for this opportunity to address you along with Swamiji for the issue of corruption. And there are some major key points that I want to cover. After that we can have questions. First I'd like to say about temples. Nearly 400,000 temples are under government control. This control comes from the power vested in the government under the Constitution, under Articles 25 and 26, which empowers the government to take over the financial management of a temple if there is substantive proof that the temple funds are being mismanaged. And since this is a matter on which much of the society did not pay attention, so the governments in the state level particularly have been taking over temples on very flimsy grounds. I was approached by one such temple which was taken over by Mr. Karunanidhi, more as a spite and anger because he lost the Ram Setu litigation. Because that was his something he was very attached to. There was a lot of money also to be made in that. Since he made it an issue that in fact he told the Muslim community that they broke, Hindus broke Babri Masjid and I'll break Ram Setu for you. That is the extent to which he went. So, unfortunately for him, in the court, he lost the battle and I was on the other side. I was the main petitioner. And then one day he got a notice issued by the HRNC department that the Savanaga temple, which is popularly known as the Chidambaram temple, he got an order issued that they would be taken over. The pujaris had gone to the High Court by themselves through a paid lawyer, and unfortunately they lost both at the single judge level and in the division bench level. And then I think both Swami Dayanand Saraswati and Jayendra Saraswati told them that they should come to me. So they came to me and I filed a petition in the Supreme Court, and in which immediately I got a stay in the operation of the executive officer. And so it's now status quo. And the final hearing will come up in 26th August when we will decide whether the order of the government was valid in law or not. But in the meantime, because Swamiji was doing a Padyatra and it was culminating in Tirupati, I went to address that meeting, which was a very large turnout of people. And in that meeting, the question of what happened in Andhra Pradesh and subsequently meeting Rajashekar Reddy, etc., all that, and thought came to my mind, why should government keep all these temples in their hands? Even assuming that they can take over for mismanagement. They should clear up the mismanagement and then return it back. But for 70 years, 80 years, the government has been keeping these temples. Tirupati was taken over in 1933. And now it turns out that Tirupati, despite the huge amount of money that people put in, ordinary public puts in, rich people put in the hundi and other ways of donating, it's not, the total assets is not more than $7-8 billion. Whereas this Padmanabha temple, which only the king or the royal family they used to make the donation. People were not allowed to make any donation. And they made every year this donation. And it is $22 billion. Which means Tirupati money must have been stolen all this time from 1933. Otherwise Tirupati should be $100 billion if Padmanabha temple is $22 billion. So I put in a new clause because most people don't read the constitution, but since I'm a professor, I read the constitution. I found Article 31 bracket 1 bracket D, B. It says that government may take over any property, but it cannot be challenged, that takeover, unless it is on a permanent basis. If the government takes over a property from the private hands without paying any compensation and things like that, you can take over permanently if you pay compensation. But if you take over property for some reason, you cannot keep it permanently. So I filed an additional prayer in this Chidambaram temple matter that all temples taken over by government which are more than 3 years old should be returned back to the original trustees. I suppose Tirupati will have to go to Hathiram Trust. Suddenly become a very rich trust. So, but I think because Swami Dayanand Saraswati has created this the Hindu Dharma Acharya Sabha, of which I am the convener of the legal cell, we think that if there are no trustees there and so many years have gone by, then they could be given to the Hindu Dharma Acharya Sabha to see that such things don't happen. In the meantime, of course, you see, there are newer and newer ways of making money. The chairman of the Tirumala Tirupati Devasthanam board, Mr. Adhikeshavalu, he came up with a scheme that he will gold plate everything. And he said he will gold plate the walls. Now first the Agama Shastris, they took objection, saying that they consider there are so many carvings on the wall and there are so many epigraphs saying how Naivedyam should be and how Prasad should be prepared, how Laddu should be prepared. All is there on the walls of Tirupati. You can't cover it up. So Adi Kesavalu said, no, then I have taken a CD of all the walls and I'll put that in the museum. Of course in court I said he can also do for the morning Suprabhatam, he can also put it in CD. Why should anybody go to Tirupati at all? Then I discovered that in order to gold plate, he was going to put it on board and then hang it on the walls. And for hanging it, he was going to drill 10,000 holes into the walls. I couldn't believe it. And so finally I went to the Andhra Pradesh High Court and we got a order quashing that decision. It was a racket to make money. It was nothing more than that. And unfortunately the Ambanis were also associated with it. And then they went and appealed to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court also made it very clear that under no circumstances they can proceed ahead ever again for gold plating without first coming to the Supreme Court and asking for permission, in which my opinion will be taken. So anyway,